So this is Unit 7. Oh, goodness. This is Lesson 1. And our focus, the main thing that we're trying to learn is how to read and write expressions. Okay, so if you remember from last unit, we were talking about equations, and we said an equation has an equal sign and a variable. Now we're talking about expressions. Expression does not have an equal sign. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. That says and. Read and write expressions. Okay, so for an expression, the definition of an expression is numbers and symbols to express computations. So remember, computations are addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Okay, which means these do not have an equal sign. Okay, so it's going to include a number, operation, variable, but it will not have an equal sign. So some examples of those are over here on your student activity page. This is student activity page 239. Okay, so you can see in this box we have some expressions. And we have 3 and 5/10 plus 6 and 3/10. That's how we would normally say it, but now what we want to do is really get the language of math down. And when you're working with the language of math, you want to make sure, as you're reading an expression, that you start with a verb. Okay? And that verb would either be add, subtract, gosh, it looks like Halloween in here, multiply, or divide. It could also be find, which is a verb. Okay? So we want to focus on having that verb first. So for this first expression, notice in this box it gives you some examples. You would say add 3 and 5/10 and 6 and 3/10 to make this expression true. Okay, going down to the next one, 10 minus 2 is how we would typically say that. But now what we want to turn it into is that computation in words. We're going to subtract 2 from 10. Notice how I'm always starting with the verb. What am I doing first? Okay, so for the third one down, I'm going to multiply P by 1/2. The last one, I'm going to divide 14 by 4. Okay, so those are some examples that you can go back to and look at to help you with that. Another way you could say it, because there's more than one way you can say it. So for this first one, instead of starting with add, you can start with find, like we talked about over here. So you could say find, what's the answer to an addition problem? I did it, it's a sum. So we would say find the sum of 3 and 5/10 and 6 and 3/10. That would be another way that we could say that. Okay. For the second one down, switch colors here. Instead of saying subtract, we can say find 10 minus 2. For the next one down, we could say find 1/2 times P. And for that last one, we could say find 14 divided by 4. Do you see the difference? Okay, so one starts with the actual computation verb first, the other one starts with find first. Either way is correct. Okay. The hard thing that I've noticed the last couple units is that we oftentimes reverse our division. So that's, I think, is going to be the hardest part for us this unit. But I think you guys will get it once you work through the words of it. Okay, so let's practice. So for practice, let's try this expression. Remember what a dot means multiplication. So we have 11 times 15 plus 3. Practice writing that in your math notebook. See how you would write that. I'm going to put a colon there so we can have the example. So how would you write that in words? How would you write that computation in words? Okay. So what I would say, I would start with multiplication. So multiply 11 and 15. Then my next step would be to add 3. Bless you. But now I want you to think about this. What if we took that same expression, but this time had parentheses? This is where order of operations comes in. So let's review. Remember we talked about please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Okay, we have what's P? Say it out loud. Parentheses. What's E? Exponents. M? D? Now remember, multiplication and division are reciprocal computations. So when you have 2 of those, or 1 of each of those in an expression, you do it from right to left, just like you would read. Okay, same thing with addition and subtraction. A is addition, S is subtraction. Okay, so again, those are reciprocal. So when you have both of those in an expression, you would work from right to left. Okay. So how does it change if we put those parentheses there? Does it change? Yes, because first we have to do the parentheses. So our expression would change because we would add 15 and 3. Oops. Then multiply by 11. Oh my. Okay. Another way we can write that, I should have left myself more room. Let me come down here. Another way we could write that same thing is we could say multiply 11 by the sum of 15 and 3. So did we have to mark addition first, even though it came first? No, because we could say we're going to multiply 11 by the sum of 15 and 3. So we'd have to do 15 and 3 first, and then multiply by 11. Okay? So there's a couple ways you could say that. You could also say find the sum of 15 and 3, then multiply by 11. Okay, a couple different ways. Okay, let's go ahead and stop.